Hey, I'm Andy Barth. I'm the texture artist on Project HeartLands, and in this video, I'll just be going through a bit of work on Eatos, who's taken us a few days now, since he's sort of the mascot of our Facebook page, and we have a really particular anime aesthetic that we've been going for, especially with his face. So I'll be going through UVs, a little texture painting, some optimizations. So this point in the process that you see here is UV unwrapping. I'm using Blender for this. And right now I'm just trying to pull certain faces that can reuse the same texture space over each other so that I'm not wasting pixels because we're just using, a 1024 by 1024 pixel texture sheet. And I want to get as much resolution as I can. So things like paper, certain areas of the canvas, the backpack can be shared. For those of you who aren't familiar with UV unwrapping, I'll just give a little overview of what that is. When you have a 3D object and you want to put a texture on it, think about like cutting a cube. Everybody uses this example, cutting a cube into a cross, the six faces sort of splayed out on flat on a 2D space. You cut it down certain edges and it opens up so that you can just literally draw on a flat sheet and it'll wrap back together then and display the detail you want on the cube. It doesn't have to be a cross, it could be in an L shape or anything that you want. So anyway, that's what I'm doing here. I'm focusing on the backpack. You can see me stop to reference Rice Spirit's beautiful art here, just to sort of make sense out of the pieces of the model that I'm going to divide. You can see little red edges where I've made seams where the UVs will split, and that's usually for just differentiating between different parts of the clothes or just strategically placing seams where people aren't going to notice them because we don't want you to be noticing differences in paint strokes and stuff like that in very obvious places. So here you can see sort of a time lapse of some of the texture painting. This particular area is the hair. There's, like 3 small chunks of hair that are going for the spiky bits of hair that Eatos has, and then 2 bigger planes for the back of his head. And so there's some texture repetition there, saving some space and time as well. And really, you can just see me sort of having done a quick block out of the basic colors and strands, just taking extra time now to smooth out and, make a little bit more pointed, flowing strands of individual hair. That's a process called rendering, which, any digital painter is familiar with. I sort of like to call it the knitting phase because there's like the initial block out phase that goes pretty quickly when you're setting in colors and forms of a digital painting. And then there's a few hours after that of less thought and more muscle memory, because when you're rendering, you have to be drawing from just your visual experience of rendering out certain materials and your back knowledge that can't exactly be described. You just have to have done certain things many times. And so it's sort of a little bit of a more mindless part to the process, although I'm sure some great artists would argue with me that you have to really be focusing at every point in the painting, and I'm by no means a real professional artist yet, so I guess I'll be putting my mind to it more in the future. I'm actually fairly new to hand-painted texturing, but I've recently discovered how joyful a process it can be. So I was really happy to be invited to do the texturing for the characters on this. You can also see the eyeball and some of Eatos' skin, which is really just blocked in as I'm rotating around the screen. And this is really pretty much what the process has been for his clothing as well, just drawing in the folds that you can see there and then hitting it with a texture overlay. Because we're going for that Super Smash Bros. Brawl look that has a fairly painterly style, but also some real like textured clothing bits. If you're looking at Mario's jeans or Link's garb as well, you can actually see threads and things like that. So we wanted to include those as well, which you will see in the final models and textures. I just wanted to finish up with a couple of shouts to people that deserve them. Shout to Jordan Ewing for his paint over of one of the work in progress models we posted of Eatos a little bit earlier. He sort of reworked the face in a little paint over he did, and we really liked some of the silhouette in the face, so we actually went back and edited some of the vertices and changed the smile a bit, all thanks to Jordan's work. So thank you very much for your interest in our project, man, and we really like it when you guys help us out. We really do. Last shout goes to Matt Nichols, our programmer, who's working tirelessly to prototype our movement mechanics right now. And he just put a video up for you guys to see how the camera mechanics and stuff like that are going, and the player controller as well. So go check that out. Thanks so much for supporting what we're working on here at HeartLands. Please do us a favor and follow us on social media. Like us on Facebook and check out heartlandsgame.com to see more development videos from me and the team. Toodle pip, lads. See you in Heartlands.